So yeah, avoid all the headaches. Number one, if you can, just don't loan money to somebody. Just walk away from them. If someone, even your closest friends, if they don't have a history of paying back smaller loans, don't loan them money. You might as well just lose them as a friend now because you're going to lose them over a bigger sum of money, a couple $1,000. You're going to lose that money and you're going to lose them because they're not going to pay you back. Anyway, that's that's just my cynical take on money because I walked into this thinking that we were all going to work together, we were all going to pull together as a team. That's the way it was presented to me, both in my real estate investing group and also with my the real estate broker that I got involved with later on.
You ever had someone ask you a question that just made your brain scream, run?
Oh, hey guys, Randy here. I tell you, I wish I would have seen this video roughly a year and a half ago. I'm 58 and I think I'm pretty savvy when it comes to spotting scams, but apparently I am not. Anyway, I wish I would have watched this video and learned its lessons. And hopefully, uh, you'll get some valuable lessons from this video as well. And I'll be adding in key moments of, of my examples, or my real life examples of where these red flags popped up, and yet I chose to ignore them because I was working on running on what they call a hopium. I was hoping the person I was dealing with would provide me with the answers I was seeking, the money I was hunting for. Anyway, here goes.
You ever had someone ask you a question that just made your brain scream? Why does this feel like a trap? Like they're smiling, but your gut's doing cartwheels and whispering, run. Yeah. That's not intuition. That's your survival instincts because you just met a liar. And not just any liar. I'm talking professional level. Gaslight you until you question your soul kind of liars. And guess what? They don't just lie with words. They lie with questions. Yeah, they ask you things that seem harmless. But those questions, they're mind tests. And in this video, we're going to absolutely body slam 5 of the dirtiest, shadiest, most manipulative questions liars love to throw at you. Because if
Yeah, so right there, uh, I didn't have that immediate uh, run for my life experience when I met this guy, but and it took me several months to learn who he was, learn learn his lifestyle. And the one thing I can tell you is if someone is not living the life that you want to live, like for example, I'm a very quiet person. I like things simple. You know, I don't like a lot of drama. The person I met with all the promises of attaining wealth and, and well, wealth through real estate, it slowly came out that he had a very, 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 very chaotic lifestyle. He he was constantly switching in his brain, just like bam, bam, talk about this, talk about that, talk about this, talk about that, talk about this. He wouldn't stay focused on anything for very long. He'd be reevaluating everything from minute to minute or second to second. I He was telling me stories about how he used to be such a successful real estate broker, and it may be true. I don't know. I don't have any tangible proof one way or the other. The only thing was, it all fell apart for him because he wasn't, according to him, taking care of the business. But his current lifestyle is, I never questioned why his children who were in the real estate business with him, why they didn't continue on and help them rebuild the business as he and I were supposed to be doing, was helping rebuild his real estate business, and I was going to be, one of the investors. But his kids didn't really have time for him. Have time for him. Uh, got 3 boys, 2 very successful, from I could tell. but they didn't have time for him. Has a daughter who had financial troubles. That should have been a red flag right there. The fact that he would be willing to drive more than 2 hours one way to look at a property, just look at a property, trying to get me to invest in it, should have been a red flag. You know, if someone's making a really good living in real estate, they're not going to be inclined to drive, you know, a round trip of 5 hours to make $3,000. They're just not. Anyway, that was one of the red flags. All his friends were in some type of financial, legal, not problems, but just they were just involved in different court cases. Uh, he told me about different people in his life who had were constantly trying to take shortcuts, constantly getting into trouble, constantly, you know, uh, just having all kinds of legal problems. It's like, and his answer as far as when he and I would go purchase a property, and it would turn out that he made a mistake because I was relying on his expertise to make a purchase, and it turns out, you know, something came up that was bad that we didn't realize, that he didn't spot. Bad roof, bad AC, bad floor, bad plumbing, whatever it was. His answer was, we'll just sue them because they didn't disclose that. That's your answer. Sue everybody. Well, that doesn't work. It just doesn't. I mean, you take them to court and they don't pay. You can't do anything about it except wait and hope they pay you. So, anyway, it's more complicated than that, but he was throwing off all kinds of red flags, and I just didn't pay attention. Anyway, let's go on to the next one. See what all this thing's got going on.
If you can sniff these out early, you save your time, your energy, your dignity, and sometimes even your bank account. Look, I don't care if it's a fake friend, a toxic ex, your shady boss, or some clown on Tinder asking if you believe in second chances. Some questions are just red flags doing gymnastics. This isn't a paranoia class. This is clarity. Because when you recognize the pattern, you don't fall for the performance. Let's talk about the first sign that someone might be a pathological liar wearing a human costume. They don't defend themselves. They interrogate you. All right, let me get into the 5 questions liars ask. Question 1. Why are you being so dramatic? Oh, I'm sorry, Karen. Am I being dramatic for calling out your lies? This one's a classic. You catch someone doing something shady. Maybe they were talking behind your back. Maybe they straight up lied. And instead of owning up, they hit you with this Oscar-worthy line. Why are you being so dramatic? This is manipulation. They're not denying what they did. They're trying to reframe you as the problem. This question is a trapdoor made of passive-aggressive glitter. And the moment you start defending your reaction instead of addressing their action, they win. You just question 2. Liars.
Let me hold off right there. Now, here's one where I have my own real world experience with this one. Uh, Relying on an expert's advice, and for example, one of my rentals, they wanted to throw away the existing stove and microwave. Oh, we can get another stove for 250, $300, be just as good, and we won't have to clean this one up, and blah 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 blah. Well, went out and priced a stove and microwave, and it was $800 for the stove and microwave. And then we had to, instead of repainting the Venta hood, we had to buy a new one of those. So roughly $1,000 plus 300 more for installation. And when I confronted him about it, it's like, you know, you said we were going to be able to pick up a stove for 300 or 400 bucks, and a Venta hood for 75, and a microwave for 100, and it's turning out to be, you know, over $1,000. He goes, well, we needed it anyway, didn't we? Didn't you need it anyway? See, that's the kind of bullshit you run into with pathological liars or people who are scammers. They'll turn it around on you and they'll say, well, we had to be done anyway. They don't say, oh, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. You know, next time I'll be much more vigilant, and I'll look at the prices before I shoot my mouth off. But no, it was all about, well, you need it to be done anyway. And so they ask you questions that you have to say yes to. They don't give you an option in the question. You can say, he goes, it needs to be done anyway, didn't it? Didn't it? And you go, no. Then what would you do? Keep that old wrecked out looking stove and blah, 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 blah. There was, it was, the answer was no win. on my side, and it's going to be no win on your side because a professional liar, they it's like a professional car salesman or a professional boxer. You can get in there and you box with him, but he's going to knock you out no matter what you come at him with. He's already been through so many different things, so many different situations that he knows the right answers and knows how to emotionally, physically manipulate you to get what he wants. So, so don't ever trust anybody that that doesn't come that doesn't do their research. That's for certain.
Liars ask, do you even trust me? This is the emotional grenade. Liars love this one because it flips the whole situation upside down, like a messed up Uno card. So you catch them being sketchy. Maybe they've been hiding something. Maybe you found out something doesn't add up. And instead of explaining themselves, they whip out this nonsense like, wow, do you even trust me? This question is emotional blackmail disguised as vulnerability. It puts you on the defensive because suddenly you're not even talking about what they did. You're trying to prove you trust them while they skate away with zero consequences. If they have to ask if you trust them while dodging accountability, oh well, you got your answer. People who are trustworthy don't need to ask if you trust them. They show you. Through action, through honesty, through not acting like a cartoon villain trying to escape justice. Question 3, a liar will ask,
So in this one, my my liar's go to was to get angry, to pretend like he was mad at you because you asked him a question and called him on his BS. So I never got that question. Don't you trust me? His was always, I've got 40 years experience in this. What do you know about it? You know, and that came to anybody else who questioned him, other realtors, other contractors, anybody that came upon him and questioned his authority, he immediately would get angry and then deflect it, try to make you stop talking. Basically, another red flag, just a bonus red flag. Uh, if you're around that person's so-called friends and he's trying to get something done and they don't want to work with him, that's a red flag. He'll come over and talk to you and say, "Oh, you know, my buddy, this and this, and for 20 years now we've known each other and done stuff together." Really? Then how come he's not investing with you? How come he's not working with you? How come he shows up to these events and all he wants to do is talk, and then when it's over with, he goes home and you tell me that, oh, he decided he wasn't going to do that. He has other problems. Yeah. So I don't know what the real answer was from his friends, but none of his friends wanted anything to do with him as far as finances.
is, so what do you want me to say? Oh, I don't know, maybe the truth? This one is so manipulative it should come with a warning label. Here's the trick. Instead of owning up, they play dumb. They pretend they're confused or too overwhelmed to talk right now. This means, I'm guilty, but let me make you feel bad for confronting me. It's the verbal equivalent of,
Yeah, I've been through that one too. I didn't get that exact question, but it'd make me feel bad that I was questioning what he was doing was, oh, my life is so complicated. I can't. I got this side business I'm trying to do at nighttime, and my wife is sick, and blah 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 blah, and she's treating me like dirt, and my daughter's got a financial problem, and I'm trying to help her, and I got these three dogs that are sick, and they all are on medications, and I need new teeth. I need a new hearing aid. Hey, as soon as we get this stuff all cleared up, we're gonna get on this business. And yeah, you got to set a cutoff date, and I didn't. I was stupid. My cutoff date was when my finances were getting so tight that he was going to bankrupt me if I kept going with him. And then he got mad when I said, "Hey, I told you. I didn't tell you once. I told you multiple times. I can't keep shoveling out money like this and having nothing come back." That's when he started screaming and hollering and cursing and telling me how he was going to cut me off. Like, you were the guy just a few weeks ago who were saying it's my money, my decision, and if I don't want to do something, then that's okay with you. And now you're going off like a bottle rocket because I'm not trusting your word anymore. Yeah, clear sign he's a liar.
throwing your hands in the air and flopping on the ground like a toddler. Let me be crystal clear. If someone hurts you or lies to you, and their first response is, what do you want me to say? They're not sorry. They're trying to escape the conversation without admitting anything. They want you to give them a script so they can fake remorse, check the apology box, and move on like nothing happened. Question 4. Can we just move on already? No, we can't just move on until you.
Yeah, this one spot on. I went through this myself with the same guy. Uh, I had gotten angry at him for something, and he called me up after a few days and said, "Hey, you know, why are you mad at me?" And I honestly I can't remember what it was, but it had to do with real estate, no doubt. or financing for real estate or transferring money or something. Who knows? But it had to do with real estate and it had to deal with money. And he was like, "Well, Randy, why were you mad?" And I go, "Well, blah blah blah." He goes, "Oh, I don't want to talk about that now. Can we just move on?" And of course, being a people pleaser and a person who didn't want to rock the boat, I just let it slide.
You take responsibility for acting like a dollar store James Bond. Liars hate being exposed, and they especially hate long conversations where the mask starts slipping. So they try to end the convo prematurely by playing the let's just move forward card. Now, don't get it twisted. Yes, moving on is part of healing. But skipping accountability isn't healing, it's emotional cheating. They want closure without consequences, peace without process, a hug without the sorry. And guess what? You're not a doormat with a heartbeat. Question 5. Are you really going to throw everything away over this? The emotional nuke liars drop when they realize they're
Yeah, that follows up on the previous example that I went through. Same thing uh, after losing money on 5 deals, four deals, and every time being promised we'll do better than the next one. We'll get better financing. We'll get better prices. We'll get better contractors. When I finally said no, well, you're just going to throw it all away? Yeah, I am, because you're putting me in the poorhouse.
little game is falling apart. They frame the conversation like you are the villain for daring to call out their betrayal. Sometimes they say this with tears in their eyes or fake panic in their voice, like it's you breaking the trust. This question is a desperate guilt trip, designed to make you question your boundaries. But remember this: if the price of keeping someone is betraying yourself, then it's too damn expensive. So let's recap. Liars ask questions not to learn, but to manipulate. Not to grow, but to control the narrative. They don't want truth. They want power over your perception of the truth, but you're not falling for it anymore. Because once you recognize the playbook, you stop being the player and start being the referee. You call the fouls, you eject the clowns, and you protect your peace like it's worth more than gold, because it is. So, the next time someone tries to gaslight you with a, "Do you even trust me?" you look them dead in the eyes and say, "Trust? Bro, I don't even trust the expiration dates on milk. You think you got a chance?" Lastly, this channel is for people who see through the mental game.
So that wraps it up for now. One little bonus thing: if you're loaning money to people, I don't care what the amount is, get some collateral. There's a reason why payday loans cost ungodly amounts of fees and things like that, and why signature loans at banks are way above the prime rate. It's because people don't pay their money back. People who are willing to take those kinds of loans have a very low return on value. Yeah, that's all I can really put it. These places, uh, before I go on too long, just want to. Now, when I first got into real estate, I was talking to uh, the investor who gives advice for free, and he was telling me, do your due diligence, do this, do this, do that, and I was like wanting to skip over all of it. And now I know why he doesn't skip over all of it, and I know why now he guarantees his profit, and he also guarantees the return of his money because he's been burned too many times, and I've been burned too many times now too. All this work together, and we're going to build a business and a fortune together. You can't do that with people who are broke. Before you loan money to anybody, before you go on with a partner, if they don't have any money and you're the one supplying the money, you better make damn sure that you have collateral, not just break even collateral. I mean, collateral twice the amount, 3 times the amount of what they're trying to get out of you. If they're trying to get 5 grand out of you, you need to have $15,000 worth of collateral: a truck, a car, a diamond wedding band, gold, Bitcoin, something, and you get it in your hand. Do not let someone just sign a piece of paper saying, "I will give it to you," because that you want to go into court and get a judgment and then nothing. Nothing. I mean, that's the way our court system works. It's just a paper trail allowing people to steal from each other because nothing ever happens unless you have got the collateral in your hands. Because you can't force anybody to sell their vehicle. You can't force them to sell their house. You can't force them to sell their gold or their Bitcoin and pay you back. The court will not force them. The court won't even put him in jail. From my experiences in the Texas civil court arena, It's just a big joke. They won't even, the court won't even do their part as far as serving the papers to the person who you're suing. They'll take your money. They'll charge you a couple $100 for filing the paperwork, and you pay to have the one of the officers of the court take the paperwork and serve the person, and they don't do it. They just keep putting you off. Anyway, that wraps it up for now. Hope you take the lessons I'm trying to teach you and apply them to your own life. I know it can be hard turning people down. You just got to decide whether you want to lose them as a friend or lose them as a friend and lose your money. And I'll talk to you later.